Hello, today we are going to be talking about the Black Dahlia case. The case of the Black Dahlia remains one of the most infamous unsolved murders in American history, which is very true because no one has ever been able to solve this case. At the center of this case is a young woman whose life ended violently in Los Angeles in 1947, under circumstances that shocked both law enforcement and general public. Her murder became more than just a criminal investigation. It became a national media sensation and a symbol of Hollywood's hidden dangers even decades later. The case continues to attract attention because it remains unsolved, surrounded by speculation, theories, and unanswered questions. This paper examines Elizabeth Short's early life. Here moved to California and the environment of Los Angeles in 1940. It also explores her disappearance and the discovery of her body, the role of the media in shaping the Black Dahlia identity, the police investigation and its challenges, and the many theories that have developed over time. Together, these elements explain why this case continues to be one of the most disturbing and fascinating unsolved crimes in American history. Background of Elizabeth Shorts. Elizabeth Shorts was born in 1942 in Massachusetts and grew up in a financially unstable household. Her early life was marked by hardship, especially after her father abandoned the family. Leaving her mother to raise the children alone. Despite these challenges, Elizabeth was known as a polite, soft-spoken, and someone who dreamed of a better and more glamorous future. As she entered young adulthood, she became fascinated with travel film and the idea of becoming an actress. Like many women during that time, she was drawn to California, especially Hollywood, which represented fame, beauty, and opportunity. She eventually made the decision to move to California, hoping to renovate herself and begin a new life. However, her reality in Los Angeles did not match her expectations. She struggled to find stable employment and often relied on short-term arrangements for housing. Instead of becoming a rising actress, she lived in transit lifestyle, moving between hotels, apartments, and acquaintances' homes. Even though she continued to pursue social connections in Hollywood circles, she remained on the outskirts of the entertainment industry. Friends and acquaintances described her as someone who enjoyed attention and social interaction, but also seemed to be searching for stability and directions. Her life in Los Angeles became a mix of ambitions and uncertainty, reflecting the struggles of many who came to California chasing fame. The only reason why she went to LA, she wanted to go to LA, was because her after her father abandoned her, it took her a while to regain some confidence because after, well, of course, the father left and she was kind of the only one. Her mother took care of her, of course, but she wasn't the best mother, is the best way to put it. She was kind of abusive and she would do a lot of like bad decisions while taking care of Elizabeth. But after she was able to move on and be able to make sure she was at least able to move to LA after many jobs she had to do, she was able to at least pursue her career just a bit. But during the 1940s, Los Angeles was a rapidly expanding city filled with opportunities but also deep social problems. Hollywood was at its peak, attracting thousands of hopeful actors, writers, and workers. However, behind the glamour of the film industry was a much harsher reality involving poverty, crime, and exploitations. After World War II, Los Angeles experienced major population growth, returning soldiers, economic shift, and housing shortages. Created tensions throughout the city. Crime increased, and law enforcement agencies were under pressure to respond to rising violences and public concern. The Los Angeles Police Department was responsible for handling a growing number of serious crime cases, often with limited forensic tools compared to modern standards at the time. Newspapers played a powerful role in shaping public perceptions of crime. Sensational headlines were common, and reporters often competed to publish the most shocking versions of events, sometimes at the expense of accuracy. The combination of rapid urban growth, limited investigative technology, and aggressive media coverage created an environment where high-profile crimes could easily become national obsessions. So, after World War II, as I have explained, that with the soldiers coming back, shortage of homes, and that with and the crime increased, I'm gonna say that with all of them coming back, that there was a lot of crime rate that the soldiers had, but with the shortage of homes, soldiers had to go back to strangers' homes and ask them to live in there because there wasn't enough homes to take care of all the soldiers. But due to the rather fact that as the crime rate went up, the police officers were under pressure by a lot, because by doing so, with crime rate going up and a shortage of police officers, that they weren't going to be able to catch every criminal under the way that crime rate was skyrocketing. But the police also didn't have enough tools, and they had to rely on a lot of accuracy to discover and make sure that they were able to get the right person and not just randomly guess. Now let's talk about the disappearance and discovery. In early January of 1947, Elizabeth Shorts was last seen in Los Angeles. She was not immediately reported missing, which delayed the initial stages of the investigation. During the day she was missing, there was no clear leads about her location or conditions. On January 15, 1947, her body was discovered in a vacant lot in Leimert Park area of Los Angeles by a woman walking with her child. The discovery was horrifying and immediately drew attention due to both the location and the conditions of the scene. Investigations quickly realized that the body had been deliberately placed. The position suggested that the perpetrator had taken time to stage the scene after the crime had occurred. This detail added another layer of mystery to the investigation. It suggested a level of planning or psychological intent behind the act. The brutality of the crime shocked the public and law enforcement alike. The case quickly became one of the most widely reported murders in the country. Okay, so when Elizabeth Shorts went missing, the way she died was very, very gruesome. Okay, due to the fact that she was cut in half, on the waist. Okay, the murderer made her eat something after the police had done an autopsy on her due to the fact that she had eaten something. Her intestines and a couple of her insides were kind of placed underneath her, and that, like, as I read, the mother who found her was walking her child to the park so she can go play, and that because she was covered originally with like a blanket, and the mother, while she was walking, thought it was just a mannequin, and so, but when she got a closer look, it was a woman, and so she lifted the covers to see the gruesome scene that I have described, and she immediately called the police, and so police came, and then at the time of the discovery, Elizabeth Shorts had no identification on her body, making it difficult for police to determine who she was. Investigators relied on fingerprint analysis to confirm her identity, which was eventually successful. Once identified, law enforcement began reconstructing her final days. They interviewed people who had been or who had seen her in the days leading up to her disappearance and attempted to track her movement across Los Angeles. However, the investigation was complicated by her lifestyle. Because she did not have a permanent residence or steady job, it was difficult to establish a clear timeline. She had connections across different social groups, which create a wide and scattered pool of potential witnesses. The investigation quickly expanded into one of the largest in Los Angeles history. At the time, the LAPD interviewed hundreds of people and followed thousands of leads and examined over 150 suspects and persons of interest over the years. Despite this massive effort, no one was ever formally charged. Media influence and the Black Dahlia identity. The media played a crucial role and shaped how the case was understood by the public. Newspapers across the country covered the murder extensively, often focusing on shocking and graphic detail to capture readers' attentions. Reporters eventually gave Elizabeth Shorts the nickname Black Dahlia. This name was inspired by her performance for dark clothing in the film The Blue Dahlia, which was popular at the time. The nickname quickly became associated with the case and helped turn it into a culture phenomenon. However, media tensions also created problems for the investigation. Many reporters contained speculations of unverified claims, which spread misinformation and made it harder for investigations and distinguish credible evidence from rumors. The case became more than just a murder investigation. It became a national story that represents the darkest side of Hollywood's life, where dreams of fame could sometimes end in tragedy. Okay, so with how this happened, yeah, gruesome murder. So how Elizabeth Shorts got the name the Black Dahlia was due to the fact of her dressing in all black. Her hair was black, and that due to the popular movie The Blue Dahlia was very, very famous at the time, so they gave her the name due to the fact of dressing up all in black, and with the movie that came out in the 1947s with The Blue Dahlia, they decided to give her that name, and so that's how she got the name the Black Dahlia. Now let's talk about the police investigation and challenges. The investigations into Elizabeth Short's murder was one of the largest in the history of Los Angeles Police Department. At the time, despite this, it faced significant challenges from the beginning. One major issue was the large number of false confessions. Many individuals came forward claiming responsibility for the crime, often seeking intention of notoriety. These false leads consumed valuable time and resources. Another challenge was the flood of tips sent to police and newspapers. Some were generally attempt to help, while others were hoaxes or misinformation. This made it difficult for investigators to prioritize credible evidence. Forensic science in the 1940s was also limited compared to modern standards. Investigations lacked advanced DNA testing, digital database, and modern crime scene investigation tools. As a result, much of the case relied to witness statements and physical evidence that was difficult to interpret. Despite interviewing hundreds of suspects, eventually civilians, doctors, and military personnel, no one was ever proven responsible. I don't know why people try to decide to be like, oh yes, I killed her, but no one, but with how she was murdered, I don't think anyone was able to do it, because due to the fact that it was a clean cut. 2, there was no blood at that scene, so they couldn't physically track her and just instantly identify her. So it had to be someone who had a crap ton of time and was able to do it quickly, and just quickly. And due to the fact that she was able to, without the database that they originally had back then, they couldn't do a lot of DNA testing, because for us now, we can just instantly do a quick autopsy, figure out who the killer is, and do it then. But back then, they didn't have enough equipment at the time to actually identify, because she could have at least maybe get an attack in, so to leave at least some DNA underneath the fingertips to at least see if they couldn't identify the killer. But now, with the theories and possible explanations, over time many theories have been proposed regarding who may have killed Elizabeth Short. Some theories suggested the involvement of a serial killer operating in Los Angeles during that period. Others proposed that the crime may have been committed by someone she knew personally, possibly linked to a personal conflict or emotional dispute. Another theory suggested that the crime scene may have been staged intentionally to mislead investigators and the public. This idea is based on careful positioning of the body. There are also theories involving accidental death followed by panic-driven cover-ups. Although these remain speculative and unsupported by conclusive evidence, despite decades of investigations and public interest, none of these theories have been proven, and the identity of the killer remains unknown. Yes, the killer remain unknown due to the fact that it was a one-time murder. No other murders have been led to this killer, and due to the fact it was due in LA, highly doubt that he's not a serial killer, okay? He killed once, hasn't killed in over so many years, decades I would say, and due to the fact that it may have been one of the darkest times in LA, that now I'm guessing if we have ever reopened this case to a similar case that has happened to this, we would easily be able to figure out who the killer is and put him behind bars for his murders, for killing Elizabeth Shorts at only in her mid-20s to 30s. Thank you for listening to me talking about the Black Dahlia case. Have a good day.